Ladies and gentlemen, gators of all ages. Wow. But I'm the owner. Jaybeazt will follow very soon.
Saturday night, just me on the cam, talking gaming news, cracking jokes that slam. Maybe one viewer, maybe none at all, but I'll hype Battlefield 6 like I'm having a ball. Emotes are zero, chat might be slow, but we're vibing, we're chillin', stealing the show. Jaybeazt is live, say hi if you dare. Gaming, reacting, awkward jokes everywhere. From Battlefield hype to leaks that confuse. Stick around, kick back, catch the Jaybeazt news.
Warning, Jaybeazt may be cracking terrible jokes. You might need to survive on snacks, coffee, or sheer willpower. But hey, that's part of the fun.
I spill the tea, comment on every game. Even if chat's silent, I'll still say your name. Dropping puns, dad jokes, maybe cringe a bit, but that's the vibe. Welcome to my lit pit. Emotes are zero, chat might be slow, but we're vibing, we're chillin', stealing the show. Jaybeazt is live, say hi if you dare. Gaming, reacting, awkward jokes everywhere. From Battlefield hype to leaks that confuse. Stick around, kick back, catch the Jaybeazt news.
Warning, Jaybeazt may be cracking terrible jokes. You might need to survive on snacks, coffee, or sheer willpower. But hey, that's part of the fun.
I spill the tea, comment on every game. Even if chat's silent, I'll still say your name. Dropping puns, dad jokes, maybe cringe a bit, but that's the vibe. Welcome to my lit hit. Emotes are zero, chat might be slow, but we're vibing, we're chillin', stealing the show. Jaybeazt is live, say hi if you dare. Gaming, reacting, awkward jokes everywhere. From Battlefield hype to leaks that confuse. Stick around, kick back, catch the Jaybeazt news. Controller in hand, headset a little crooked. Dropping hot takes, people should've looked it. New streamer energy, yeah, it's small but sweet. Join Jaybeazt Saturday night, pull up a seat. Jaybeazt is live, say hi if you dare. Gaming, reacting, awkward jokes everywhere. From Battlefield hype to leaks that confuse. Stick around, kick back, catch the Jaybeazt news.
And now, the stream is officially live. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, gators.
Hello. Welcome to the weekend stream, guys. I'm finally back. It's good to be back, actually. I'm not 100% well yet, obviously, but I just couldn't stay away. Just could not stay away from you lot, and I just had to come back and do a stream because it's been too long. I think the last one I did was just a couple of days ago, actually. For the state of play, I did a small one because I wanted to, well, actually it wasn't a stream, it was more like a video, but I was still like hard knocked down, and you could, if you go if you go watch that video, you'll see how hard it was. Like, I'm actually worse than right now, but I'm feeling a little bit better. My voice is coming back finally, but I'm full warning, I'm probably going to be coughing quite a lot, and just my lungs will probably just come out of my mouth today. So just full warning, it's going to get pretty gruesome here. So full warning, if you don't want to see me coughing my ass off for the whole stream, you don't have to stay, but that's what you're gonna get today, basically. Just me coughing quite a lot, and just vibing and doing some gaming news as we normally do on weekends. We do have quite a lot to cover, and we do have quite a lot that we missed in the past week. So yeah, I'm probably not gonna get through like all of them because it doesn't make sense. Most of them kind of old news now. You probably caught up, but yeah, I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to make any new content or catch up with you guys in the stream. But sorry, I'm gonna be sipping on this. It's a warm beverage to keep my throat comfy. But yeah, we'll be talking about quite a lot of stuff today. Until my voice gives out, I'll be talking. We do have we do have a lot to talk about in terms of Ghost of Yotei, which is I'm super keen to play, and the reviews from the the journalists are already out. This is not coming until well mid next week, 2nd of October, right? So it's like we still got almost like a week to go at this point. Um, but yeah, all the reviews are already out, like a week before the actual game drops for public, which is very interesting. But it's all good news, it seems. It's got it's reviewing pretty well, so we're going to be jumping and have a look at some of those reviews today. You guys know that I love a good IGN review, so we'll be talking about we'll be looking at the IGN review and see what they've got to say. There are a couple of things that I want to discuss when it comes to the IGN review as well. So let's have a look at that. Hi, Eileen Ramirez. Thanks for the follow, dude. So yeah, we'll be talking about Ghost of Yotei, a lot of Ghost of Yotei, especially on that IGN review, because one of the things that I noticed with the review score, something I want to bring up, Yeah, everything good, everything good. I've just been off for about a whole week since I got sick, and as you can probably tell with my voice, I'm not fully back yet, but I just couldn't stay away from streaming, so I decided I'm going to do my weekend stream, and we have a lot to talk about today in terms of gaming news, so thank you for joining. Um, so yeah, starting off with the review lineup for Ghost of Yotei, like I mentioned just before you joined, we do have quite a lot of reviews already dropping for the game before it comes out next week. So we're gonna be able to get a pretty good understanding of what to expect from the game, which is awesome. Um, yeah, it's not very common for game reviews to drop this early just before the game comes out. Like it's a whole week out, right? So let's jump in and see. And like I said, I'll be talking about that IGN review and also GameSpot review as well. Um, I'm from Melbourne. Yeah. And where are you from? Yeah, it is. It's just a very lovely place, and we're just coming out of winter, so it's getting quite nice up here. What about you? Where are you from? USVA? Tell me what VA is. Is it? I'm not really sure about the abbreviations for US states. I don't know all of them. Is it? I don't know. I'm trying to think, but I can't really think of what it stands for. VA. Let me look it up. Yeah. Oh, is it Virginia? Oh, okay. I kind of suspected that it might be, but I wasn't sure. Cool. Virginia. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. All-time favorite game. My God. That is a broad question, dude. I have a lot of games that I like. I can't really pick one. I love Battlefield games. Obviously, I'm getting back into Battlefield 6, as are many of you, with the newest game coming out soon. Uh, but I also enjoy story games, like pretty linear adventure games like Uncharted and The Last of Us, and all those story heavy games. Uh, but also enjoy like a nice indie game here and there, like a Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was a pretty good game. Um, Not so much into Souls like games. I tried. My brother is into those. But yeah, I try. I do enjoy. I did enjoy Black Myth Wukong though. I think that might be an exception. I tried to get into Demon Souls and stuff like that. I just did not. Uh, it's not so much the difficulty. It's just like I understand that you have to like get good with it, kind of thing. You have to uh like study the bosses and sort of practice and then like beat them up, kind of thing. I like doing that to an extent, and after that my patience runs out. So it's a patience thing to me, for me, I guess. Do you have emotes? No, I don't actually. I don't have my own emotes yet. I just started streaming, so yeah. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. um, yeah, yeah. I should. I should. Um. Anyway, uh, Aileen, as I was saying, Ghost of Yotei is something that I really wanted to talk about because it's like if you ask me if I like one of my favorite games, like what my favorite games are, Ghost of Tsushima was probably one of my favorite games of all time, you know, and I just really loved it. So I when I finished that game, I wanted to play more and more of it, right? I just really wanted to play more of it. But the thing is, I felt like the game was kind of short, you know? And this is not a sentiment that most would agree. I think for most people, it was the right amount and it was good. But for me, I fell in love with Ghost of Tsushima so much. When that story ended and I finished all the side activities, I'm like, oh man, is this it? I want more, right? It was a little bit too short for me, and I this is why when they announced Ghost of Yotei, I was ecstatic, because this is this is more of Ghost of Tsushima by based on the trailer they showed. And yeah, I do understand that most people do have an issue with the game being very similar to Ghost of Tsushima, but they kind of like miss the point. That is the point of this, is that it is more of a Ghost of Tsushima. Of course, it's not the same setting. It's like set in 400 years later or something like that. Um, you know, Jin Sakai does not even exist in this timeline. It's a completely separate story. It's a little bit more. How do you say? Non-linear in terms of like the storytelling. It's actually kind of like Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? We give a lot of shit to Assassin's Creed Shadow being a Ubisoft game, and it's non-linear storytelling with you know, finding the targets and like assassinating them and all that. It is um it is true because it that game is a little bit more cluttered with so many assassination targets. But I think Ghost of Yotei, even though it is very similar to Assassin's Creed Shadows non-linear storytelling, where you can pick and choose who to go after. So there's like, if you're missing context, there's six enemies in the game called Yotei Six. Um, it's ultimately a revenge story of you, the player, whose character name is Atsu, I believe, going after these Yotei Six for revenge, right? And that's exactly what's happening here. Farshan Chops, thanks for joining, my friend. So Yotei 6 is going to be your main six targets. Yeah, this is Jay from Melbourne. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome to the stream. I'm finally back from after being away for a couple, not couple of weeks, but almost a week. Uh, oh, hey man! Wow, what a time, bro. Well, it's been a while. It's been a while. Wow, high school, dude. Thank you for checking in, man. I'm just talking about Ghost of Yotei. Anyway, how you been? How you been? It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Holy shit. That's crazy. How'd you find me? Phew. I can't even remember the year we graduated, dude. It's been a while, like 2010, right? 2010? Yeah, 2010. Yeah. It's been, I guess 2025, it's been 15 years. So, yeah, crazy, crazy times. Um, fuck. Holy shit. Well, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining and checking me out. Um, I just started doing this thing a couple of months ago. I've sort of been offline for the past week because I got sick. I got the flu. As you can probably tell with my voice, it's not fully back yet. But I needed to talk about a lot of the game news because it's been a full on week for gaming, dude. So I just had to talk about some of this stuff, especially Ghost of Yotei. We already have a lot of reviews dropped by a lot of the critics, and the game's not even out yet. It's not coming out until next week. So there's a whole lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah, for 6 years and kept in touch with a lot of our friends from school. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I had I don't think I kept in touch with a lot of the people after I graduated. To be honest with you, yeah, like I kind of fell out pretty quickly out of high school, dude. It was a wild time. A lot of things happened after that, so it was kind of, yeah, interesting. What the fuck are you talking about? Legally dead? Is this a troll? What? I don't even know what that means, dude. What does legally dead mean? They'll troll or not. You're keeping me busy, so that's good. What's your full name, by the way? I'm trying to remember who you are. Anyway, um, I don't know Matt Taylor, dude. Don't know Matt Taylor. I knew another Matt, but Matt Taylor. What's Matt Taylor? Anyway, well, I'll let you finish your story, but I will keep on talking about Ghost of Yotei because I would really like to start talking about it. Um, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of videos that we want to look at today. Um, and then I also want to talk about some of the Assassin's Creed Black Flag stuff, which I thought was interesting as well, and we will get to those in a bit. And there's a game that I will bring your attention to as well. You know, yeah, there's a game that I want to bring your attention to specifically, which I thought was very interesting. So we'll talk about that today as well. So let's get to it. And let's start with the IGN video, as you probably guessed, because that's something that I really want to talk about. So let me bring that up and let's talk about that. Let's look at it first. We'll start there. Let's have a look. Just bring it up so I can see what is up. Okay. All right, it's loading. I've got an ad blocker thing on this, so it's taking a little while. Anyway, here we go. There you go. Let's do it.
Sequels are opportunities to either build upon a predecessor and push boundaries, or refine what was already great and deliver that again with a stronger focus. With Ghost of Yotei, developer Sucker Punch leaned heavily into the latter approach, and the result is more captivating open-world action and unbelievably striking visuals at every turn. It doesn't try to revolutionize things, sticking pretty close to 2020's Ghost of Tsushima in general, but I don't necessarily mind when that means it can expand in aspects that matter and offer a tighter distillation of the samurai fantasy that was originally promised. And not many games in recent memory can hang their hat on having combat as fluid and satisfying as this, and it's packed into a revenge tale
Nice one,
that
bro.
makes for a more human story.
Nice one. You got me good there. Let's go into this. That was a nice prank, but yeah, I do love Hamish and Andy.
So long. Any ideas, boy?
Coming off of Tsushima, the novelty of imitating filmmaker Akira Kurosawa may have worn
No,
off.
it's
a
all
bit,
right. It's all
but
right.
the cinematic stylings
It's
of
all-
the samurai
it's all
classics
in the name
still
of fun, right?
effectively seep into Ghost of Yotei's look and
It's
vibe.
all right, dude.
Whether it be the cinematography of cutscenes, the standoff before a duel, or the letterbox framing while riding horseback
Nah, that's
across
all
the
good, man.
gorgeous fields of Ezo,
I wouldn't be
which
mad
is
if you go
modern-day
check out my
Hokkaido
YouTube
and the
channel.
home of Mount Yotei.
You know?
It had me mashing the screenshot button and
Maybe you can
frequently
make it
pulling
up.
up the photo mode, which is conveniently mapped to the D-pad. We've seen technically impressive worlds across Sony's first-party catalog, but it's the artistic flourishes and intentional environmental effects that elevate Ezo's
Matt
lush
Taylor.
plains, snow-covered mountains, and vibrant forests. The picturesque vistas lend Yotei its own identity, but it's the new lead character, Atsu, who gives the wandering samurai tale a more enticing edge as well.
Yeah. What do
It's
you
a
guys
story
think of
far
this
less
character?
concerned about the romanticized idea of the samurai, and instead focuses on the lengths one would go to exact their revenge. Tsushima's protagonist Jin was just fine for the purposes of that story, yet he wasn't a particularly interesting lead on his own. Moving to Atsu, who's fiery and brash, gives Yotei the kind of personality it needs. Actor Erika Ishii lends their likeness and voice, if you play with English audio, to Atsu and brings something that's more rough around the edges for a more believable character. She's stubborn and has trouble seeing beyond bloodlust, sometimes frustratingly so, and the ways the world and people push back on her kept me curious enough to see things through.
My
Okay.
name
All right, cool.
is Atsu.
Now, all of this revolves around a fairly by-the-numbers revenge plot, where Atsu seeks to take
Yeah.
down the Yotei Six, a group
We
of
kinda knew all
outlaws who
that.
killed her family when she was young.
So that's the
along their
Yotei 6
path
they're
to
talking about here. So
becoming the de facto leaders of Ezo by force. If you played Assassin's Creed Shadows from earlier this year, you'll notice a lot of similarities. In its roughly 30-hour main journey, a large majority of the story unfolds in predictable fashion, and gives you the runaround more often than I'd like. Multiple times, events build up to a big moment of music and family through childhood
I would say this though, compared to Ghost of Tsushima, like I said, it's a little bit more non-linear storytelling, and it's ultimately a revenge story compared to what Ghost of Tsushima was. Ghost of Tsushima had more story, like themes of, like, you know, honor and that kind of stuff, because ultimately, you know, Jin Sakai's a samurai. He had to battle with, like, you know, keeping his traditions alive, at the same time playing dirty, being a ghost, stuff like that. But this game, you're playing as Atsu, ultimately is a missionary. She's a Ronin of some sort. Not even a Ronin. I think she's just a woman who's trying to get revenge, right? So your main drive to continue with the story is just revenge. It's actually, that's why I say it's very similar to Assassin's Creed Shadows. Shadows has the almost exactly the same plot. You got a bunch of what are they called? I forgot the name. I forget their names, but you know those big group of people that ends up killing her dad, Naoe's dad, and then yeah, she. I mean, you do have a samurai Yasuke, but it's ultimately more of Naoe's story about how she's getting revenge from this bunch of people who set fire to her village and ended up killing her dad, right? So it's a very similar story, but what I'm interested in is how well they have executed it, because like like most of you will find, this is probably not original in terms of storytelling compared to Tsushima had like a very, not original, but it's a refreshingly new type of story in the gaming industry when it came out. We haven't had we haven't had a whole bunch of games set in Japan, feudal Japan, come out at that point, especially not from big AAA studios set in like from the West, right? So, and at this point, we have a whole bunch more now. So it's easy to make like say, oh, we've seen it before, blah 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 blah. When Tsushima came out, it was kind of like the first of many, right? And then more recently, Shadows did a game, and now we get this also in the same year. It's wild to think about. Oh, did it come last year? No, it's this year, right? Yeah. So we're getting that both games same year. Amazing. Anyway, so the thing is, we have seen this revenge story fold out before. So then what we should be really looking for is how well they're going to execute it, how well they have done the storytelling part of it, because Sucker Punch is actually pretty good with their storytelling. They have done a fantastic job telling stories before. Like with the Infamous franchise, they nailed it, and now with Ghost of Tsushima, they nailed it. In this one, I think I'm gonna wait and see how well they have done it, because they're really good at driving the story forward, pairing that with the gameplay really well, which is where Ubisoft really comes short. Their gameplay loop and their story always feel disconnected. So especially like when you do stuff in the world, it doesn't really like reflect in the world or the characters or whatever. You just do things, and that's ultimately is the issue with Ubisoft games. But Sucker Punch is way better at like world building and making sure that your gameplay is also really well paired with the world itself. For an example, like if you remember Infamous Second Son, the stuff that you do in the world, the more camps that you would free, like the more areas you free and stuff, it actually you could see that reflected in the actual world, how people react to you, and things like that. And I feel like this could be one of those game worlds where you could see that happen as well, because it's a revenge plot, and you're not just going after everyone one by one in order. You can pick who to go after, you can figure out where they are, blah blah blah. So while you do that, it also means you're doing a lot of side activities, and you're freeing you're liberating camps and stuff like that probably, and that's probably going to reflect a little bit more in the world itself, which will make it feel a little bit more authentic and immersed, which is what I'm hoping for Sucker Punch to do with this game, which you cannot really expect Ubisoft to do. So let's see if I'm right. Let me know what you think. Let's keep watching.
Flashbacks that flesh out their past.
Let's play together.
And when it came time for Atsu to square up against one of her targets, I couldn't help but grin, sit forward for the fight, and sense that intensity of dealing a final blow. Although I wish it took more creative swings in its storytelling, it is a strong enough vehicle to carry you through what it does best. Speaking of what Ghost of Yotei does best, it's combat. There aren't many open-world action games that compel me to clear out optional content across the map just for the sake of starting fights. Movement has an unmistakable fluidity, as does the flow of each attack, ability, and parry, yet each weapon carries a certain weight that makes landing hits and those impact frames so satisfying. Without a lock-on mechanic, encounters feel natural at the expense of some frustrating mishaps with the targeting system, but because you're given so many tools, being able to weave them into your rotation or use them at opportune times keeps each fight consistently exciting. Whereas Jin had stances with his katana in Tsushima to counteract different enemy types, Atsu carries multiple weapon types of her own. She's skilled with the sword but relies on a chain sickle, spear, and dual katana setup, as well as a very big sword, which creates a rock-paper-scissors dynamic against enemies. With the right weapon, you can inflict more
That is a
stagger
big
or
sword.
bypass some of their defensive techniques, letting you cut through them with greater efficiency. All these weapons control distinctly,
wait
and the
to play this
Kusarigama
game,
is a
dude.
particular highlight. It lets you break shields, swing it around for crowd control, and even assassinate enemies from a distance on some
Kusarigama.
scorpion-type shit.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed
Weapon switching
using
is
that
smooth
weapon in
and
Shadows.
fast, so it's not as much of a pain as it may sound, and mastering the cadence of combat makes me feel, and Atsu look, like a badass.
That's good.
The role of projectiles is also expanded with the advent of
good.
firearms
Combat
during this
system's
time
good.
period, as
That's
Yotei takes place in the early 1600s. So not only does Atsu not give a damn about honor, she also has no qualms about letting her chopper sing. Well, her musket or flintlock pistol. Sure, the musket takes forever to reload, but landing a shot comes with an emphatic punch that pierces through armored foes. And the flintlock pistol is handy for staggering or finishing off enemies at point blank. And man, does it make me miss Bloodborne. And of course, the bow and arrow is still there, and it feels good to land a headshot. Then there's smoke and dust bombs to obscure enemy vision, and a flame attachment that temporarily sets your blades ablaze, all of which are effective in their own right. This is all to say that you have a lot to juggle, and no shortage of options for overcoming Yotei's challenges, whether it be an entire camp's battalion or a high-stakes one-on-one. Stealth is still a prominent part of the mix, but largely relies on basic mechanics we've seen time and again in these kinds of action games. Tall grass and enemies with their backs conveniently turned and no vertical vision. Yeah, we know the deal. I won't deny that an aerial assassination or a triple kill chain feels great in the moment though. And let me shout out the Kusarigama ranged assassination one more time.
I mean, can we just agree that this is probably going to be what Shadows should have been like? And I mean, I'm probably too quick to jump into conclusions, but given that this is already reviewing pretty well, which I'll get to in a minute as well, especially with other reviews, not just IGN, can we say already that this is what AC Shadows should have been?
Broadly speaking, there's seemingly a lighter emphasis on stealth than we saw in Tsushima, and Yotei never really pushes you hard in that direction. If you get caught, then you just fight, like, oh no, I have to engage in combat, the best part of the game, what a shame.
Yeah. It's good to know that combat is solid like Tsushima was, because
I found teeing up as
It
many
is what you
stealth
do a
kills
lot.
as possible before going loud to be the most enjoyable way to play, and it seems like Sucker Punch understood how to make that approach work well.
nice. That is my favorite way to play and clear camps.
Ghost of Yotei does spotlight duels, packaged as deadly boss fights where you're chipping away at their stagger meter and health. Here, mastering the timing of your parry and dodge is of utmost importance, and even though they play out quite predictably, I still got a kick out of connecting on multiple parries in succession, lest I get one-tapped myself. Parrying and countering is one of the great joys in games, and Yotei delivers wonderfully. I see that blue glint and I lock in. So much so that I played most of the campaign with the Bounty Master armor equipped, which disables normal parries to slightly increase the perfect parry timing window. It's high risk, high reward, and it was worth it because nothing is cooler in this series than flawlessly deflecting an attack and slicing through normal enemies Bushido blade style.
That is so true. That is so true. Getting those parries right, and then counter-attacking
And
is the
standoffs
most
are back,
satisfying
letting
thing
you
ever.
kill an enemy or two or three in a timing-based EI sword swipe before going all out on the rest of your foes. It's another way Yotei, like Tsushima before it, adds satisfying variety to combat.
Yeah.
It was smart for both entries in the series to do away with level-based experience points and progression, relying more heavily on
Okay, so overall, I think it is talking about the game very favorably, right? By the look of it. What did
bit of its sheen. The Kurosawa imitation is still strong and used to great
what did it give?
Executive Reviews editor Tom Marks here.
forming open-world games.
Yeah.
Ghost
So
of
they gave it an 8. So they gave it an 8 out of 10, which is a great score. Don't get me wrong, it is a pretty good score. However, Jin slander was so unnecessary. My question was Ghost of Tsushima, IGN. Ghost of Tsushima review by IGN. If you go all the way down to what their scores, they gave it a 9. Okay, they gave it a 9, but for Ghost of Yotei they gave it an 8. However, I watched this and I don't know where exactly it says it, but the dude is like, oh, I enjoyed this game a lot more than Ghost of Tsushima. And the person who reviewed it was saying that they connected with this story a lot more and enjoyed it a lot more than the first game. Yet they gave it an 8, and Tsushima received a 9. It looks like they were reviewed by different people, and that's probably what happened here. So this guy is clearly, what's his name? Michael Higham? I don't know how to say that. Oh, am I saying this? Anyway, yeah. So it's this dude, and I digged in a little bit. It seems like, I think it's maybe not this part of the interview, but there's a separate interview. He does mention the fact that he gave it an 8, even though he enjoyed the first game more. He enjoyed this game a lot more than the first one. It's because he gave the first one a 7. He did that. Actually, he didn't give it a 7. One of his colleagues from GameSpot did, because that's where he used to be back when Tsushima came. So his colleague has given a 7 for Ghost of Tsushima back in GameSpot. If I go Ghost of Tsushima GameSpot review. Yeah, there you go. So it's been given a 7 by GameSpot back in the day. So this is why. So he's comparing this 7, and I mean, he's not comparing, but in his mind, Ghost of Tsushima is a 7, and because of that, Ghost of Yotei, which he enjoyed a little bit more, deserves an 8. So that's where the confusion is. So if you're wondering what the heck does that all mean, this is what it is. It's good that they have somewhat been transparent about it, but it's not super clear watching just the review video. If you're wondering that, I had to dig in a little bit to figure that out. But yeah, at least they're not trying to hide it or anything. It would be better though if, you know, whoever, I don't know if this person is still with IGN or not, but the right thing to do for IGN would have been to have this dude review Ghost of Yotei, because he reviewed the first one. So the review would have been much more comparable for a person, you know, watching these reviews like us. But instead of having two people review it with totally different expectations and level of enjoyment towards the first game and the second game, it's really hard to get an understanding of what it is. But 8 is still a great score, so don't get me wrong, it's still good. 8 is not bad at all. 9, so even 7 is not bad. They're great scores. You should start worrying if you get a 5, right? 6 is still okay, right? But yeah, 7, 8, these are still very good scores. So anyway, I just wanted to clear that up with you guys. So there you go. That's IGN's review, which is pretty interesting. The other, they did talk about whole lot of stuff in like other Digital Foundry talk about the performance, which I won't like go through the whole video or anything, but they were pretty much saying Digital Foundry. Hang on, I think I have the video saved here. Yeah, I'll just play it. Oh. Here you go. Yeah, so Digital Foundry was talking about Ghost of Yotei here, and they were pretty much saying how well the game has been made and optimized. It's running pretty well, which is I mean, unfortunately, a huge deal these days, right? Because we get a whole bunch of games most of the time releasing in a pretty buggy state nowadays. So the fact that this is running really well, and it has a bunch of performance versus quality options on PS5 and PS5 Pro. I personally wish now that I have a PC, I could play this on PC. It would look amazing. I don't have a PS5 Pro, unfortunately. I only have a PS5, so I'm still going to be playing that on my base PS5. And it does have a whole bunch of options they mentioned. They did say that it has performance options and then quality options, and then also ray tracing option for PS5. The ray tracing option runs at 30 FPS, obviously. However, if you have a PS5 Pro, you do have a ray tracing option that runs at 60, which is awesome. It sucks that for base PS5, the ray tracing 60 FPS version is not on. It's just, yeah, it's kind of stupid. Which mode do you reckon I will be playing in? I reckon I will be playing in 30 FPS quality mode because it just looks significantly better compared to the ray tracing 30 FPS on PS5. That's what I would play in. Also, because it's not an FPS, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not playing 60 FPS. It does matter. Like, I would prefer 60, but the thing is, if you're playing at 60, you're playing the performance version, which is like really not great looking, because it's, first of all, it's rendering at a really low resolution and upscaled, and you can see like a lot of the artifacting around the players and all that, which they talk about in this video. If you want to go check out, probably, yeah, this is on HDR. They're talking about ray tracing over here. So yeah, so they talk about like ray tracing on and off. It does look pretty significantly better with ray tracing on. So I'm probably just gonna be playing the game at 30 FPS. It's an open world third person game. It's not gonna affect your gameplay as much just playing at 30 FPS. Does it suck that we still have to play at 30 FPS in 2025 games like this? Yes, absolutely, it does suck. But the only option is to get a PS5 Pro, and I refuse to buy one just for these occasional upgrades, which doesn't make sense to me. So I would wait until this also releases on PC, which it will probably in about another year, and I will buy the game again and I'll play it on on PC. But since I don't want to wait until then, I'm gonna buy it on PS5 and play 30 FPS and get all the glory and high resolution and ray tracing. But let me know what you guys think and if which mode that you planning to play. But if you're lucky, you're a little bit lucky if you have a PS5 Pro, you will get to play this with ray tracing on and 60 FPS. However, I think the resolution does take a hit still. In order to achieve that at 60 FPS with ray tracing, I think they're rendering the whole thing at like 1080p or a little bit lower and upscaling it to 4K. So it's gonna look a little bit weird in some places, which they do show in this video, but yeah, like in these graphic modes, I think, yeah, they talk about it here. It's very hard to notice probably on this stream because this is compressed and streaming at 1080p, so you're probably not gonna see anything different in the stream, but there is a significant difference between ray tracing and performance mode. So it's up to you. If you don't really care that much about how it looks and you really want those extra frames, go for performance. But yeah, it's nice that you do have a whole bunch of options there to play however you want to play. You can't get both, but you have options, so that's good. Anyway, so that's Digital Foundry. Their reviews are pretty positive as well in terms of the game itself, how it runs. For each of the mode, performance is locked at 60, and it runs locked 60 FPS, pretty stable across the whole game, which is awesome. And even 30 FPS quality mode and ray tracing modes, they're running locked 30 pretty stable. They did mention that they couldn't even find one, like even in like here they were showing here, there you go, they were showing how they couldn't even find one instance where it was dropping. So yeah, it's running consistently at 30, which is awesome. You can't, I mean, if you're already playing at 30 FPS, if it drops below that, it's going to be an issue. So it's good. So I think they pretty well optimized this for the machines, and it's going to run well without issues, which is good news. Good news for the players. So moving on, what else? Ghost of Yotei Metacritic reviews I wanted to look at, because they do have a whole bunch of reviews out from critics. There's 107 critic reviews, and it's good to see that it's reviewing pretty well. It's 87. 87 is a pretty good score, almost a 90. And obviously there's no user reviews because this is not coming out until mid next week, 2nd of October, which is when? I just minimized all my windows. Anyway, which is 2nd of October, right? Thursday. It's not coming until Thursday. So we took a whole bunch of time waiting for this game, right? But yeah, some of these are interesting. So Game Rant gave it 100. A very generous 100. Well, there's nothing to say here, right? Basically saying Ghost of Tsushima walked so Ghost of Yotei could run. Yotei beats Tsushima in every category with better graphics, better music, better gameplay, and a better story, despite the occasional narrative lull. Ghost of Yotei is the kind of game that you can't stop playing, and when you're not playing it, you'll be thinking about when you can play it again. It's a masterful open world game and one of the best exclusives on the PS5. There you go. It's already gone on to be praised as one of the classics for PS5. Checkpoint Gaming, I'm not sure. 95? I don't know who they are, but yeah, they gave it a 95. 90. Radio Times gave it a 60. Interesting. So Digital trends. There's a whole bunch of hundreds in here, which is awesome. VGC gave it 100. Game Rant said. Oh, PSX gave it a 95. Game Informer gave it a 93. Oh, nice. The Games Machine Hobby Consolas. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Yeah, there you go. That's probably a little better. Carol Quinta, I don't know. Cultura Geek. Games Radar Plus gave it a 90. Game Surf, Gaming Trends, IGN. Sorry, I told you that I'm gonna be coughing. Invader. PC Games. Push Square 90, yeah. Screen Rant gave it a 90. A lot of the IGN people gave it. IGN France gave it a 90. IGN Deutschland gave it a 90. Portugal 90. Gaming Bible 90. GameSpot 90. GameSpot gave it a 90. Okay. Scored even higher than Tsushima. If you remember, I just said GameSpot reviewed Ghost of Tsushima at 7, so they gave it a 90 out of 100, which is a 9 out of 10. Much higher. Eurogamer gave it a 90. That's good. They're hard to please most of the time. Okay. Gaming Bolt. Yeah, so many 90s here, dude. Press Start Australia 85, a little harsh. Actually, it's not that harsh. 85 is pretty generous still. I don't think it quite reaches the heights of its predecessor. It is another worthwhile trip to lawless Japan. Yeah, like I said, it's a different story. That's what some of these people are getting like, look, that's what throws off some of the people who are reviewing the game, because they're going into it thinking that it's gonna be like Ghost of Tsushima. But the thing is, it's not called Ghost of Tsushima, it's Ghost of Yotei. It's a ghost game, but it's an entirely different setting and a whole bunch of new people in it, new characters, new story. And it's like I said, it's a revenge story. If you're going into the game expecting the story to be almost like a continuation of the first game in the same story themes, you're probably not gonna be happy about the game in that way, because it's just not, it's not even a similar character here. You got this woman Atsu, who's not even a samurai, right? He's kind of a rogue character who's who's plotting revenge against 6 enemies, Yotei 6. And it's like I said, it's a revenge story. It's told in a non-linear fashion too, unlike how Tsushima was. Tsushima was very linear. You go through the story beats and it's on rails, which is not doesn't seem to be the case with Yotei. So you're going into the game expecting exactly the samey story. That's where you're gonna be disappointed, because that's not what this is doing. It's improving on the gameplay elements of Ghost of Tsushima and delivering a completely different story with a new set of characters. That's what it's doing. So if you're going into the game expecting that, I think you'll be fine. It's an improvement over the first one. It's not trying to do anything completely different, because they already did that with Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima was an experiment that was a huge success. They tried a lot of concepts that actually landed pretty well. All they did with Ghost of Yotei is improve on those concepts and made it better. So yeah, if you're expecting them to like the rattle the cages and like just do completely new different thing to Ghost of Tsushima, even in terms of gameplay, you're not gonna get that here. And it's kind of an unrealistic expectation to have just for the sequel, just for the second game in the series, man. Like, no. Oh. 1980, yeah. We're still in the 80s. There's a whole. I mean, this game is reviewed really well. Okay, now we're in the 70s. Radio times. If you've seen one Japanese orphan avenging their parents' death, have you seen them all? That's the question. Yeah. Like I said, yeah, this is because of the story, right? They're having an issue with the story because you went into it just not prepared on what to expect from it. So it's just the misaligned expectations that's leading to these scores. Again, oh, there you go. The actual Eurogamer gave it a 60. Like I said, Eurogamer is hard to please, dude. Sucker Punch sequel offers more great swordplay and heartfelt storytelling, but would be better served as a linear action game, freed of its poor side quest and dated open world. Oof. I mean, I don't know. It feels a little too harsh. But that's your game. Anyway, yeah, interesting. Yeah, so it's these couple of 60s by Radio Times and Eurogamer. That's probably why it's just sitting right slightly under 90. Otherwise, it would have been like a 9 out of 10 here in Metacritic. So I think that gives you a lot of confidence as to what to expect from Ghost of Yotei. I'm super keen to play this game. I know that I'm gonna have a pretty good time playing it. I don't know if you will. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you're gonna be picking up a copy on launch or if you're gonna wait later to play it, let me know in the comments. All right. That's Ghost of Yotei. So I'm losing my voice little by little. It's 8 o'clock already. We've been talking about Ghost of Yotei for a very long time, dude. Very long time. Huh. What else? Oh, here is something that I also wanted to talk about. Let me close up everything. Excuse me. So, you guys remember Pal World? So, sorry. Sorry, give me 1 second. Let me load up. All right, so Pal World, for those who has no idea what I'm talking about, I will give you some context as to what I'm talking about. So Pal World is a game that's been out for a while, actually. Let me show you what I'm talking. I'll put this up in the background. So Pal World gameplay. Yeah, so this is Pal World. So Pal World is like a open world game where you collect creatures and there's some like survival elements to it. We're building camps and gathering resources as you see here. So it's and you collect creatures and you have them fight. You fight them too, so there's a whole bunch of that. There's a whole there's shooting. It's not just like going around building your camp, which seems to be all this person is doing in this gameplay. But yeah, so there's a whole. It's a pretty game, and it kind of went viral last year or a couple of years ago when it came out, and because it was very similar to Nintendo's Pokemon. It had creatures that looked very similar. It had similar mechanics of catching creatures, and all that. You throw a ball at them, and stuff like that. So people were like drawing a lot of comparisons to that game, which kind of set off this whole lawsuit now we're in, where Nintendo has gone and sued Palworld's publishing company, Pocket Pair, sorry, saying that they have copied the work. There you go. You see they're throwing a ball and catching creatures, right? So yeah, so they have sued them for using that mechanic, and what's worse is Nintendo has managed to obtain a patent that for that very mechanic of summoning creatures and catching creatures in Pokemon, which is very unfortunate. I had talked about this extensively in my previous videos, but it is an unfortunate thing to happen. I personally don't believe mechanics in games should be patented like that. Whether it's Warner Brothers doing it with the Nemesis system, or Nintendo with its Pokemon system. I just don't think it's the correct way to handle these things, because it limits creativity in the gaming industry. I understand why corporations do it, because they want to have more control over their IPs. However, it doesn't make sense to have patents over these specific in-game mechanics. It's like you can't just be like, hey, we invented press X to jump. Like no one else can use press X to jump because that's what our software does. Like you can't do that. And that's kind of what they say. I mean, it might be complicated coding or whatever at play here to make this happen. You throw a ball, you catch creatures, whatever. But if you're saying that, like if Nintendo is suing Palworld, saying, "Oh, you guys copied us with these Pokemon-looking characters and throwing a ball to catch them, blah blah blah," then Ubisoft can sue Nintendo for copying their tower climbing to reveal map feature, which is heavily used in Legend of Zelda games, right? But it's actually Ubisoft who did it first. Ubisoft with the Assassin's Creed series started the whole climbing the tower, and Far Cry, whether it's Assassin's Creed or Far Cry, both of them maybe. Anyway, Ubisoft started the whole tower climbing thing to reveal the map and get the surrounding view thing. It wasn't a thing in the game until Ubisoft did it, and it was such a good mechanic at the time. Now we kind of like being force fed to it, so everyone's sick of it, which is a separate story. But at the time, it was such a cool mechanic. Everyone ended up copying it in their games. So did Legend of Zelda. They did the same thing too. So if Ubisoft sued them, what would that mean for doing that? That means like they're gonna have to rethink how they make Legend of Zelda games, and that would probably lead to maybe a shittier Zelda game. It doesn't make sense, right? These patents are so stupid. It just limits each other in the gaming industry. It just shouldn't be the case. These things should be shared. These mechanics are pretty awesome and innovative, and they should be shared across the industry. It's not something that you should be like holding on to and be like, oh, we came up with this, so we only can use it. Blah blah blah. It just makes no sense. It's just corporate greed talking, and it's just if we let other people use it, we are missing out on the money that we could be making. Other people can't make money out of what we made. Blah blah blah. It's just pure corporate greed making these decisions, unfortunately, because ultimately gaming companies are businesses, so they are governed by a bunch of business people who probably don't even understand games or the gaming communities or the gaming industry as a whole. All they care about is making money, right? So that's where we are, unfortunately. So that's the context. So we got Pal World right now. We have Pal World, and it's in the middle of a massive lawsuit with Nintendo, suing them, but it's still up and running. It's been backed by Xbox, which is cool. Um, but yeah, they have the whole thing going on, and they made some adjustments to the game, so it's not. Um, it, Hopefully, it'll get them out of trouble. However, they're right in the middle of the lawsuit right now, but the badass thing they did, Pocket Pair, just released this trailer 4 days ago for a new game, which is a Pal World spin off game called Palfarm. And I want you to look at it. Yeah, that's this. This seems pretty familiar to you. This whole text box. Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like they're doing something very similar to Animal Crossing, which is, I mean, the balls on these guys, man, it's just freaking amazing. They just went ahead and announced this, which is, I mean, everything it looks very similar to Animal Crossing, kind of like Stardew Valley kind of thing, but very very Animal Crossing though, right? And yeah, it's using like the pals from the world of Pal World. Um, and yeah, you have a very similar game to Animal Crossing now, which is pretty cool, I think. But kind of a ballsy move for Pocket Pair to do in the middle of a lawsuit with Nintendo. So they basically just like gave it a big bird to the whole lawsuit and announced this, which I think is pretty badass. And look at the end. There's a whole cool thing at the end if you keep watching. Is it at the end? There you go. This one. Look at this. Yeah, so they used the whole very thing that's in question for Pal World. They used that in the trailer. I mean, that is pretty badass, dude. Like, they just do not give two shits about the whole thing that's happening with Nintendo. They just don't seem to give a shit at all, and I think it's pretty badass that they, which I think means they're pretty confident with what they're doing. So I don't know where it's gonna lead. I don't know whether all of this is gonna end up just having to be, scrapped off, because if they rule in favor of Nintendo, they're probably gonna have to back up. I really hope that wouldn't be the case, because it will be in direct violation of expression of freedom of expression, and creativity, right? So I'm keen to say where this goes, but I think Pocket Pair is a pretty badass publishing group, studio, to put out a trailer for their next spin-off game, which is very inspired by Animal Crossing, which is another huge, huge Nintendo property, and to even feature the creature summoning in that game also, which is in question for the of the lawsuit that they're dealing with right now. So it's funny, but also very, very ballsy, very ballsy. Let me know what you guys think of this whole thing, because yeah, I think we can see good things from Pocket Pair. I think they make these are pretty solid games, and I think they just don't care at this point. They're just going all out, which is awesome. And I think it's good to have some competition, to be honest, because Nintendo uh, doesn't really have a lot of competition, and that's why they're growing so comfortable in their position to even go after these um, studios that are much smaller than them, even though you know they are in direct competition. As soon as That's what happened to Palworld. Palworld was doing so well when it first came out, but it was how well they were doing at first was very small in margin compared to how big Nintendo is. So they just didn't really care at first. Then it garnered a lot more attention, and a lot more people ended up jumping in to Palworld, and even more and more viral. Became kind of a household name. And that's when Nintendo's like, oh yeah, we're suing them now, because they don't like competition, dude. They just don't want it. So yeah, Nintendo is kind of the big bad villain um, in this scenario, and Pocket Pair is kind of the underdog. So I think a lot of people will be rooting for Pocket Pair naturally, and myself included. To be honest, I think Nintendo recently has become a lot more anti-consumer in their practices, and I think it is about time that someone tried to put them in their place, and make them remember that their IPs are not untouchable, and people will get behind fairness and money for value a lot more. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. So yeah, that is Pal World. Mm. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to talk about is, this is a fun one. This is a fun one because I checked out this game like a couple of months ago, where there was like another trailer that came out, and I mentioned that it looks like a whole bunch of every game, and we have got an extended gameplay for it. And my god, was I right? I mean, those who have been tuning into like gaming news, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But this game called Ananta, um, Ananta, yeah, I don't know. It's a gotcha game, but it looks like a little bit of everything. So let me show you what I mean.
Wait, it's shut down?
We just got here. How's it already closed? And who told us to come here in the first place?
It's a free to play game also, and it's an open world game.
Still haven't got our paycheck!
So it's got the whole anime look, but also everything else kind of look realistic. Okay, nice little open world. It looks very pretty.
It's right ahead.
Photo mode does look like a lot going on. Yeah. Did you guys see that? Did you guys just see that? Bro was doing the whole Spider-Man. Yeah. Got like the Venom web slinging and stuff. Yeah. Melee combat, kind of reminiscent of like watch Sleeping Dogs, which is cool. Very Sleeping Dog style combat, hand-to-hand combat, which I'm very excited for though. I actually like they kept that kind of combat system. The shooting too though. Got a little bit of Spider-Man takedowns here. This is very look at that. Look at that hand that combat with this Venom arm. It's very Spider-Man 2 combat like, you know? A whole bunch of crazy ass weapons. I don't know those are mission specific or if it's just oh yeah. It's got some fantastical elements to it obviously.
You want to do that?
Approaching the target.
Like flying trains. Some hacking.
What a huge mosquito.
And it's got giant Godzillas.
Guess I should go grab some help.
It's got a smartwatch that looks very much like an iPhone. Did you see that? You're swapping characters like in GTA 5, dude. It's the exact same way this. That's GTA, like straight out of GTA 5. And it looks like you can swap between so many more characters than just one or two. Am I? How many characters do you see here? So some of these characters are blocked, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 7 characters to choose from. These are probably blocked off for maybe story reasons, maybe. But how freaking cool is that? You got 7 character swapping here, potentially. Uh, I mean, even if it's not 7, there were like 3 to choose from, so like at least 4, right? So that's amazing. That is amazing. So
Come with me.
yeah, we got some policing to do as the weird girl with the tail. Some stealth watchdogs type of thing happening here as well. So we got a little bit of watchdogs. Wow. See, it all looks cool, but what I'm concerned is the execution part of this game. Like, how well is it going to be executed? This whole section, look at that. That's like straight out of Watch Dogs. It looks like straight out of the game, but it's got so much going on at any given time, and so many game mechanics I just don't know how well it all integrates together. And makes for a good gaming experience. You know what I mean? Just don't know because it might end up being a whole lot of nothing. No, that's what I'm concerned about. We got a slapping game. Got all this crazy driving. Yeah, you can make people fall from treadmills.
This traffic's still so backed up. Good thing I can fly.
This is Spider-Man, Spider-Boy.
Poor little room isn't
Look at this. This is basic. This is Spider-Man, dude.
delivery guy.
You know what I mean?
Did your cover get blown?
Look at the time. What's taking you so long?
It's like a. It feels like Spider-Man with just a
I'm already
like
skipping
a
red lights as it is.
like an Asian
I
skin.
know, I'm just venting about the roasting
So
I had
weird.
today. Good thing I'm chill or I'd be robbing all their takeout.
So weird to
Forget
see
it.
this.
Just make sure you don't get caught.
It's very same looking animations
Chill.
as well.
Almost there.
The animations look
convinced.
exactly the same, which is so weird. Oh,
Hey! Cap? Cap!
yeah. This is footage captured on PC. So, yeah, it's an interesting take on gaming. I think the guys who made the game just went. It's made by NetEase, by the way. NetEase very famously make a lot of mobile games. I think this is probably gonna be in mobile. I don't know whether it's coming on mobile or not, but it is coming on PC. Um, yeah, they just kind of went, what kind of game should I make? Should we make? And then all of them just went, yes. You know what I mean? Like it's if they could call it like an appropriate name that defines what the game is, they should have just called it the game, because that's what it is. It has everything going on. Everything from they copied pretty much a lot of the stuff that you see from other games in here. How well they have been executed, it's still, time will tell. We just don't know. I saw this clip on X comparing it to other games, which I thought was very funny and interesting. Which is, that's literally like safe to say. So, yeah, literally the same shit. Watch Dogs, like I said, Uncharted 4, yeah, Grand Theft Auto, yeah. Especially like that move here, with yeah, like this move, that's the exact same thing. It's crazy. A lot of the combat moves are straight out of Spider-Man 2, which is very interesting. Anyway, it's coming out next year, I believe. I don't think they have like uh, like a set release date, but yeah, it's coming soon. I'm in a weird way kind of I am interested and looking forward to play the game, only because it looks like all the games that I want to play, to be honest. And it's a free game. Apparently, only has like cosmetics that you can buy to look cool, but other than that, there's no pay to win scenarios. Apparently, and it's an open world, free to play game, which is Very interesting. We're gonna be getting a lot of free to play open world games. This one, Where Winds Meet, is another I've talked about. Is a like a wuxia style ancient China like combat action adventure game, which is also free to play, and it's coming I think this year or early next year or end of this year or something like that. It's coming pretty soon. When is it coming? Yeah, it's coming this year, November. So it's coming in a couple of months, and it's a free to play open world game. And it is also published by NetEase. So they're putting out a whole bunch of these crazy, ambitious, big open world games that are free to play with the pay stuff will just be cosmetics. Very interesting approach to these games, and they seem pretty detailed, and like a lot of work has been put into it as well. Especially like if you look at where Winds Meet, it does not look like a game that is free to play. It looked just as detailed in the combat system, everything else that you've seen. They put out a lot of gameplay for that game, and it looks very, very polished and detailed, like a normal AAA title. But it's a free to play game. It's so interesting what they're doing. And we're getting all of these games for free. I'm keen to play them. I'm going to be playing Web in Meet. I'm going to be definitely checking this out because this looks like I said, looks like every game. So I want to see how well it all connects and make for a good gaming experience. Let me know what you guys think of this game, Ananta. I don't know how you say it. However you want to say it, doesn't matter. The game based in our city. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. Guess we'll find out soon. So yeah, so that's Ananta. That's there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I want to talk about. I'll probably do another stream tomorrow so we can talk about it then. But what I did want to talk about today though is Battlefield 6 release dates confirmed. I mean, we already know that it is coming 10th of October, but they put out some more information about the exact start times. If you're a hardcore fan, you might be a little bit more interested in this. Battlefield 6 will be available to play from 8 a.m. PT on October 10th, and there are exact times posted on Insider Gaming article, which I'll link in the description box if you're interested. It's got I'll put it out on my Discord channel, so if you want to go check it out there. Yeah, they have put out a specific times here and preloading times as well, so that would be cool if you want to find out. And down here in Australia, it's Battlefield 6 start time is set to as 1 a.m. on October 11th. So yeah, for us it's about a day late, unfortunately. Which is always the case with these games anyway, so because we are almost like a day ahead for everybody. So whenever they say like October 10th, it's really October 11th for us. It's starting at like 1 a.m. so like smack bang in the middle of the night. So that's the day you're not gonna sleep. I'm probably not gonna get any sleep that day. I'm probably gonna sleep on October 10th, so I can not sleep on October 11th, you know. So let's see how that goes. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much the news that I wanted to talk about today. What else did there was something? Oh, lastly, I did want to bring attention to something that I thought was very, very interesting, because it's about EA is reportedly being about to be sold, which I do have some thoughts. So um, I first spotted this in Insider Gaming, which I will show the article so we can see here. Um, just the context, right? So EA to close deal to sell company and go private. So just for context, we all know that EA, despite Battlefield 6 coming out soon, and it seems to be a major win for the company right now, they have been struggling quite a bit. So is Ubisoft. Ubisoft Ubisoft has been struggling quite a bit, and we know this because they made a massive deal with Tencent, a major Asian gaming company, um, with a locked IP deal with Assassin's Creed, and I believe it was Far Cry and Rainbow Six, I think, and the Division maybe. So yeah, bunch of certain IPs. So Tencent invest a whole bunch of money into Ubisoft with those concerning those specific IPs because they're struggling. And same is true with Electronic Arts because they are a publicly owned company at the moment. However, they've been struggling quite a lot with their latest releases. Release after release, they've been losing money. Immortals of Avium, Disaster, BioWare's new game, the newest Dragon Age game, and the bunch of games BioWare put out lately, including Anthem. You know what a disaster that was. And yeah, so they've been struggling quite a bit, and it looks like now they're trying to sort of hang on to a saving line uh, in an attempt to go private. And someone's trying to buy out. So let's see what this is about. So what they're saying here is Electronic Arts. I'll pull it up a little. Yeah. Electronic Arts might be returning to being a private company, according to a new report from the Wall Street Journal. He is deep in discussion on a $50 billion deal that would take the company private. The report paywall claims that investors include Silver Lake and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. This deal, according to the outlet sources, could be announced as soon as next week. Discussions on price are still underway, but the deal could value EA at as much as $50 billion. PIF already owns a 10% stake that is purchased in 2023. Silver Lake, on the other hand, doesn't have any stake currently, but it does have partial ownership of Unity, which EA has used for past titles. Should the EA sale happen, Wall Street Journal believes it would become the largest leverage buyout ever, not adjusting for inflation. The current largest buyout is the sale of TXU in 2027, 32 billion. As of publishing, EA stock has risen nearly 15% since news of the deal was first reported. The company's next earnings call is scheduled for October. Yeah, so interesting time we live in. If you remember PIF, I've talked about this briefly regarding Ubisoft as well, because do you guys remember when Ubisoft released a piece of news saying they're going to be releasing some free DLC for Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage? Literally, like, they haven't even released it yet, but they're going to, apparently. It's an older game, not for Shadows, but for Mirage. So, which was kind of weird, and digging into that, what we have learned is it's because of a deal they have made with PIF, which is probably PIF owning some stakes or injecting some money into the game, which made Ubisoft make these DLCs which probably was slated to come out earlier and before Shadows dropped, but they just couldn't get it completed in time, so they focused on getting Shadows out on time, which is way more important than a DLC for Mirage at that point, like a at that point in time. So they probably delayed that, dropped Shadows, worked on that, and now they finally have time to work on the Mirage DLC, and they're dropping it now. So probably what happened. I might be wrong, but take it with a grain of salt. Pure speculation, but that's probably what went down. But it's interesting. PIF seem to be having a lot of stakes in the gaming world lately. They seem to be putting their hands on pretty much everywhere, which is interesting. And even in this article by PC Gamer, they were talking about it. The other known quantity in the purported deal, Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, has been making inroads in games for several years as part of multifaceted push into global media and entertainment. So their investments in Hollywood, sports, it's crazy. EA, much like its competitor Ubisoft, has struggled. We already talked about this. So this is the interesting part. Should the deal go through, here are some of the major studios and games that could be affected. So the concern here is especially because when studios get bought out or get acquired by bigger studios, we see a lot of changes happen within these companies, and that's generally been the case in the past few years. We saw that happen with Embracer Group acquiring all these studios and then laying off a whole bunch of staff, which was ridiculous. And then same thing happened with Microsoft acquisition, with Activision and all bunch of other groups. They laid off like nearly 2,000 staff just this year, just a few months ago. And this is where the concern is. So now they're gonna be bought by these few groups together, and then EA will go private, which would mean we can see layoffs happening in some of these studios as quickly as in a couple of months, or even a couple of weeks even. So BioWare, Mass Effect and Dragon Age, Respawn with Titanfall, Apex Legends, the Star Wars Jedi series. These are pretty good IPs, man. DICE and the other Battlefield studios, Battlefield and Mirror's Edge, Maxis, The Sims, the Madden, EA Sports games, Domen, Dead Space, and Need for Speed series. Skate recently resurrected, yeah, even though it didn't really do that well again. The Command and Conquer series, Origin Systems back catalog, Ultima, Wing Commander, yeah. So got a whole bunch of stuff, and these are like the most, I would say, like well-known IPs and that we should be worrying about. But yeah, we'll probably know in a couple of days where these went. But right now, this is happening, and it's something to pay attention to. If they do end up going private, there will definitely be repercussions as a result, and most likely what we're going to see is staff cuts. That's probably what we're going to see next, because it's one thing to buy out this company, but then also the next thing that these people are going to worry about is how do we keep making money out of this. The only way to do that moving forward is to reduce the staff and cut where possible. So that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. So let's see what happens. I would prefer that they stay public owned, but it's a business, so we don't know. Let me know what you guys think, as always, in the comments, and we can have a discussion about it. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that this is happening, and that we starting to see more and more these type of acquisitions happening across the gaming industry, purely because these giants, once they were giants, and now they're kind of struggling. These big AAA companies. It's very interesting. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what I wanted to cover today. It's been a while, so I'm glad that my voice is starting to sound more and more harsher, and I can't keep up. But I'm glad I managed to cover all those up today, which is awesome. And but yeah, and I would this is where I would normally just play a game with you guys, but I am going to wrap it up today. I'm gonna keep it short because, again, like I said at the start of the stream, I'm not 100% well yet, but I wanted to catch up and talk about these because I feel like it's important. You will catch this on YouTube later, so if you're checking this out on YouTube later, thank you so much for catching up. It's been great. And if you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing, obviously. And I'll catch you probably in another short stream tomorrow, if not on Monday. I'll see you then. Bye bye.
Alright, time to paradigm. The underdog's logging off. Baby! Thanks for hanging out for laughs, memes, and gaming clout. Even if I tripped, lost, or failed, you stuck around and that prevailed. We checked trailers, spilled the tea, mispronounced a game or three. Call of Duty fails, oh that's me, but the chat laughed along, pure victory. Grab your snacks, hydrate up, don't fall asleep. I'll be back soon with news to peep. The underdog may stumble, trip, or rage, but you're the legends who fill my stage. Grab your snacks, hydrate up, don't fall asleep. I'll be back soon with news to peep. The underdog may stumble, trip, or rage, but you're the legends who fill my stage.
Announcing chat, Jaybeazt is officially signing off. He may try to explain the plot of a game he hasn't played, argue with NPCs about story choices, or get stuck in the tutorial forever. And if someone says something wild in chat, he might go,
Oh mate, don't say that!
thanks for surviving the chaos, laughing at my fails, and pretending my Call of Duty aim is fine. Catch you next time, same underdog energy, less chaos, maybe. But thanks for surviving the chaos, laughing at my fails, and pretending my Call of Duty aim is fine. Catch you next time, same underdog energy, less chaos, maybe.